Hey everyone, welcome back to The Boring Life. Oh, I nearly said the accounted for because I was just recording an intro for the podcast. Um, hmm, the camera placement is a little high for me today. I'm gonna try to lower it. Ooh. Okay, that's slightly better. Now I can actually look at you properly while trying to maintain my distance with the microphone. I also have to adjust the dial here to make it a little better. Okay, that's much better. I don't know. Yeah, it might be cool if you actually heard me change the sound while you watch the video. I'll leave that effect there then. I won't make changes. So yeah, thanks for tuning back into The Boring Life. We're on episode 4. Maybe I should just write down the weeks that I'm covering in my life. That might be easier because let me look at the calendar. We are covering the days of April 22nd to the 28th. Yeah. So if that means anything to you, that's how we'll keep track. So the purpose of this vlog is to just show just a week in the life of entrepreneurship, just what I'm doing to create OMD Ventures. And so generally you'd be watching this if you're a fan of the podcast I do and just the general content platform I've created. I'm just trying to keep you updated on the journey I'm going through and the process of actually trying to do what I do and the work that I do. And the pun here is just that it's literally a boring life. The process I have is very boring. And I'm just hoping that after 10 years of doing this boring process, something amazing will come out of it. It's like 10 years of being in a cocoon. And I'm just trying to turn into a beautiful butterfly. So yeah, I'm just trying to keep you along on the journey and show you what's happening every week. So major developments of the week. I filed taxes for the first time as a sole proprietor. Really using that tax knowledge I got from university, not really. I had to learn all this from scratch because we don't really do it in school. Maybe touched upon it a little bit, but it's so much more different when you're actually doing it. I totally understand why people hate doing taxes. I thought I liked doing taxes in school. I got it. It was like, oh, it's a system. It makes sense. But now when you have to do it yourself, it's not fun. What else happened? Oh, I I got contacted by the CPA Ontario, and for the first time, I wasn't upset. I have a I have a lot of anxiety every time the CPA contacts me. It's just when you are a CA, no matter what people say, like the process of getting your letters, even after 3 years of working and 5 years of school, and that like 60 something $1,000 I've thrown in tuition money, they still come back at you and say, "Really, do you really deserve this designation?" Like, yes. But I digress. It was actually a very positive thing. One of the event coordinators reached out and said, "Oh, I saw what you're doing, and I want to get some of your input and feedback on what some future conference they want to make for the CPA Ontario." It's about they're like, "Oh, we're looking for people who have non-traditional backgrounds like you." So I gave her some feedback on how she planned the conference to be, what kind of conference I would attend. I would attend free conferences because I'm not making any money right now. So if I'm attending a conference and I'm paying for it, I better be getting a lot of stuff out of it. Um, but yeah, I think it was really cool. It was my first time actually just giving feedback on these kind of professional conferences, and it was just really cool to, I think, build up a network that way and just getting these kind of inbounds. So it just made me feel appreciated, and maybe who knows? I wanted to keep in the loop to see if I can maybe even come on as a speaker and maybe talk to current accountants who are stuck in audit who want to do something different and maybe potentially inspire them. Who knows? To share my story. That'd be cool. I'd love to do that. Get a speaking gig. Another really cool thing I did this week is I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Indie Hacker movement. Indie Hacker, I think I might have talked about it in the last vlog. I forget, but it's practically the movement of companies. When you're an indie hacker company, it means you are profitable and you are bootstrapped, so no VC money. I think those are the two criteria. Most tend to be remote too because they're just smart that way. I have a total bias for companies that are remote. I think I think smart companies are gonna go remote. It's just, yeah, FaceTime's dead. um, so I went to Meetup. So there's meetups all across the world for these communities. So there's a podcast called the Indie Hacker Podcast, and there's an actual community site. It's like a giant forum, and I've been a big fan for the last few years. And I finally decided, okay, I'm gonna go to one of these meetups and actually just meet people there, and also just test out different hypotheses of, you know, what do these founders do? What problems do they have? How can I be part of this community? Because I've always been trying to be part of that network, and so it it really was outside my comfort zone. Despite loving people and really loving chatting with them, I'm not too great or comfortable at going into unfamiliar areas with no prior connection and just throwing myself out there. I'm just not that extroverted. I think I'm just past that midpoint of introvert extrovert scale, but I'm not that person that just really randomly talks to people in the elevator. Actually, more likely I'll talk to someone in the elevator than go to these random conference meetups where I know nobody, because in the elevator I am confined in that space and I will talk to you just because we're just there together staring at the floors changing on that little screen with the red numbers changing with dotted things. But it was a really cool meetup. Most people there are definitely technical. They're developers, designers, and it makes sense generally to build these kinds of companies. You need a tech product, and it was really cool to one of the people that run it. He runs a company based primarily in the UK and sells to the government some driver's ed course. Another guy, he's from Germany, but he came to Toronto 2 years ago, and he runs like an advertising company that helps Amazon resellers, like drop shippers. So that was really cool. And another guy is a much older gentleman. He'd his company, it does like helps with email marketing, but like mass campaign marketing, like 500 to thousands of emails, like promotional stuff. And it was just really cool just hearing people's experiences, talking about problems that they face, different tactics, how we can help each other. Like I was able to actually contribute to the discussion, and it felt cool. It was a great community of people who are just all very curious, and they're all just super entrepreneurial. I would say about 50% have launched something. The other 50% they're just in it just to get ideas and get inspired. So that was a very cool thing as well, where you don't necessarily need to have a company, so you don't have to feel intimidated about it. You just come in, you get inspired, and then just talk to other people who actually started it, and just learn from each other's mistakes. So that's a really cool thing. And it's also it's funny how Toronto seems so small when I meet these people on Wednesday night, and then I run into one immediately after on a Thursday at the gym, and then I run into another guy on the streetcar on a Saturday. So yeah, small world. I also had 2 podcast interviews this week, so definitely added one into the inventory. It's tough, this constant operational dance I'm doing, and it's also harder because I constantly meet most of my guests ahead of time now. So essentially I used to just not meet them and just record just first time meeting, and I just prep somehow separately, but I've chosen to meet them now ahead of time and actually get a full kind of understanding of the general story, help them understand mine. And so when we actually meet and talk on the podcast, there's a little more synergy, I guess, but like rapport, I guess that's a better word. But it also adds lag on the amount of podcast interviews I can do, also because there's time constraints, and people are really busy and they're really generous to give me so much of their time. And so that's something I'm constantly working on. I'm trying to find a way where maybe I'll just do like a video conversation where it's much shorter. I just tell them about the podcast, try to get a very quick overview, and then we proceed on. Or whether I just go back to just me doing the work ahead of time and then just going into the interview directly. So I'm constantly battling with that, and yeah, that's something I'll have to figure out. As I also publish my blogs on Medium every week, or try to, and I'm learning how to use the publication feature, and Medium started paying me for my articles that do get curated, and so it's kind of like luck. I think how I get curated. It's just the curators at Medium, the gods, like what I do, and then they'll say, "Oh, this article is deemed worthy," and it starts making money. But I think the way that I can actually get more viewers to read my stuff is actually beyond these publications on Medium, which are practically like magazines. And so I've been actually contacted by certain platforms to be a writer, and so that's how I've been actually getting more of my articles out. But they tend to be smaller. They're maybe 10,000 followers on the publication. It's not that small. It's a pretty sizable audience, but compared to bigger ones that have hundreds of thousands, close to a million, definitely small scale. So I applied to one called, I think it's Better Humans. Relatively big. I think they're 500,000 plus followers or subscribers on the publication. Got rejected. It's tough, but what are you gonna do? You gotta move on. But yeah, the search continues, trying to constantly just find the right publication that fits the kind of style I'm writing in. And so yeah, it's it wasn't a fit for us, so I'm just gonna find the next one that likes me. And what else happened? Oh, got some amazing emails from you, my fans. I met one of my listeners, Ritu, and just shared my journey and also learn about her journey, which is fascinating. So thanks, Ritu, if you're watching, for reaching out. I really do appreciate it. And also Justin, who sent me a very well, very, very nicely written email that just thanked me for what I was doing and just more support on the podcast. And it's I have my I think about how, oh yeah, positive feedback's one thing, but is it really going to help you improve? People say, oh, you want people to be critical so you can improve, but you know what, at the same time, when you're actually doing this and you're just grinding it out every day, the positive stuff really fucking matters. It really does. It's like, these are the things that really tell me that, yeah, there's really value in what I'm doing. Like, I should be doing this because look, this one person saw value out of it. So there's kind of a market confirmation. Let's continue doing it for these people, because you just don't know. And so yeah, these kind of things always help. And so thanks for motivating me constantly. I really need that sometimes, because sometimes it's just really hard getting out of bed. And speaking of getting out of bed, so this past month, so April's coming to an end. This past month, my new habit I focused on was doing morning pages. Morning pages it's a common practice written in the book The Artist's Way. I didn't read the book, but I heard about morning pages a couple times from other kind of creators. One primarily being Brian Koppelman, of the creator of Billions. And I started doing it every day. You're supposed to write 3 pages longhand every day, every morning. I wrote 750 words, which is equivalent to 3 pages apparently, on my Evernote diary or journal. And I've been at it now, yeah, for the entire month. I think out of the month I missed, I think it was 1 or 2 days, but I hit every other day. And it was good. It was therapeutic, and I think I'm going to continue doing it. It's just a great way where I wake up, I have all these thoughts, I just shoot it out on my page, and sometimes it helps clarify some thoughts and make them into ideas. Other times it just declogs my brain, I feel. So there's that kind of benefit, which helps in the morning when I'm trying to do some better writing and try to get into some good deep work. And I kind of do a 1-2 punch where I do the morning page first and then I meditate after. So it's just kind of trying to really cleanse the mind, because it's a shitstorm in here most of the time. And so that means I have to pick a new habit of the month. I'm actually trying to do this thing where I work on one habit. It could be a daily habit. I haven't decided yet, but one habit a month. And I haven't decided if I'm gonna make it meditating or cutting out pastries. I think meditating is going to be easy. Like, people have trouble with meditating. I have no problem with it. Like, I think it's maybe because I believe in it. It's helped me once before, and I've done it religiously before. I stopped for a while, and now I'm just getting back into it. I've been getting back into it recently. I just haven't been doing it as consistently, but this could really help me make it, like an everyday, every morning thing. I think I generally do it 9 out of 10 times, 9 out of 10 days. But the pastry thing, that's my Achilles heel. I So if we talk about like my system right now, I did gain a little weight, so I'm thinking about it. Like I feel it when I'm lifting. My weight belt feels a little tighter. Just not feeling as nimble when I'm lifting. You do feel it. You feel whether you're nimble or not when you're even squatting. You feel it. I also see it. So, I'm eating a scone a day every day for gym. Before my training session, I'll have like a scone or a donut or a muffin. Just great with coffee. But oh man, the sugar with the caffeine it's killer. It tastes so good, but it actually magnifies the negativity of the effect. If you didn't know that, yeah, like it's actually worse if you drink coffee while you're eating sugary shit. So, yeah, it's not been so good. So I think that might be the new habit. You'll have to tune in next week to know what I've picked. But yeah, um, otherwise, just generally on the system, my system, read about 40 pages a week. This past week, not a good week for reading. Just I read a few pages and I just get so tired. I might just move it back into reading in the morning like I've done before. We'll see. Um, but sometimes I'll read, and reading is amazing for idea generation. I'll read a few pages and my brain just starts getting just firing. So I remember Saturday, it was great. I loved it. I was just sitting at Impact Kitchen on Adelaide and just eating my paleo waffle, my weekly tradition, and just sat there and I read a bit and I just started just zoning off and just thought. I just had ideas and thoughts for about 3 hours. Just kept on writing it down. It's great, and I was really happy. It was a great session. I think those are the moments I just love. I just get very happy in those times. Yeah, and yeah. Oh, so content for the week. My essay, it's been actually getting quite a lot of likes on. Well, not a lot, but a few. Traction on LinkedIn, where some readers have been reaching back and saying how it was a great essay. It's called "Moments When You Start Seeing." It's practically about my experience taking this journey, and how only after about a year do I actually start seeing different things, and how reading about stuff and actually experiencing is just so different that it's 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 hard to describe, I guess, but the way I describe in the essay, I hope makes way more sense. I'm just trying not to ramble about it and trying to keep it shorter. So I'll just say, check out the essay on the site. It's called Moments When You Start Seeing. I think you'll like it. And the podcast this week was with Larry Lau, episode 39. He's the founder of 88 Ventures. Just fascinating entrepreneurial story. He's a serial entrepreneur / angel investor. Cool story. Wanted to be a kinesiology surgeon to help basketball players like Kobe Bryant. Quickly realized that's not what his talents were. Nearly dropped out of school and founded a huge marketing agency. And he built like this giant Pokemon website that got bought out by IGN when he was like 12 or 14. He like now lectures on digital marketing at University of Western Ontario, and he also runs his own venture studio, which is practically providing like an outsourced CTO service. He also angel invests in like 20 different companies. He's a really fascinating guy and just has so much hustle and heart in what he does. So this was a really cool interview, and I just became a big fan of Larry after just chatting with him for a couple times, and so I'd highly recommend you take a listen to it as well. And so yeah, that's about it. Thanks for tuning in, and yeah, see you next week. Bye bye.